Welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Sean Anderson, and on today's edition of Coach's Corner, we're talking tennis. And yes, tennis, one of the Ponca City High School spring sports. And of course, as you're watching this, chances are the Spring Sports Wildcat Bash at the baseball field has already happened. That was Wednesday at 5 p.m. With soccer, baseball, golf, tennis, and track, the cheerleaders, the high steppers, everyone involved in spring sports. And of course, the Wildcat bashes are always big, they're always fantastic, and of course with the baseball scrimmage after that. But chances are, like I said, watching this now, that has already happened. So on this edition of Coach's Corner, we're going to talk tennis, and there's a lot of tennis to talk about. The season starts this week. Coach Larimer is with me, the Pohai boys tennis coach. And Coach Larimer, thank you for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
So we're getting right into it. We're moving into March.
Right.
Thursday is the first day of March. It's also the first day of the season, and you're going to travel down to Moore with your tennis team. Leading up to the beginning of the season, tell us a little bit about what your team has been doing to prepare.
Well, we've been practicing. We have off season for the kids that don't participate in football or basketball, or wrestling or cross country or whatever. We've had them since August. So as soon as they get their physical, they're on the court and we're hitting tennis balls. So it's real nice to have them early in the year because our probably best weather is in August, September, and October.
Right.
But we play most days, and we utilize the country club on real bad days for we can't fit them all in there, but at least some can go hit. And
right.
And so we've been practicing for quite a long time, and we can. It's easier to work in the fall time on specifics where you're playing a lot when it gets to be March.
Yeah.
I mean, our season is so condensed that it's March, April, May, and it seems like it's almost over when it begins.
Right, exactly.
It's so fast.
We know that the other sports will receive a tape of other teams and stuff like that. What kind of scouting, what kind of information do you as a tennis coach get on individual players, or do you just get a list of rankings and things like that?
It's a little bit different because we go to tournaments and we see kids, and during the course of the year you're going to see, and you don't know who's going to play singles, who's going to play doubles, and it's not like I'm going to drive to Jenks to watch a different tournament.
Right.
Because I'm going to see most of the kids during the course of the year anyway.
Right.
And so when you go to regionals, you still some teams you still don't know how they're going to play their kids.
Right.
So I'm going to do the best to put my kids in the best positions where I can put the most kids in the state tournament.
Right. Absolutely.
So
that's the goal from the very beginning.
And we can guess what everybody else is going to do.
Yeah. There you go. Thursday, Moore. That first March 1st, Thursday, Moore. Tell us about that matchup.
Well, I got a few kids that lettered last year coming back. So I mean, my one doubles is the same one doubles that I used last year, and they made state tournament, and they came a set away from placing in the state tournament, and they do a really good job. It's Max Jackson and Bradley Robinson, and I expect good things out of them because the field that Thursday at Westmoore is going to be different than the people we'll see at Jenks on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
what makes a good doubles team? I mean, you talk about them coming back, and
yeah.
Is there chemistry between the players? Is it help if they're opposite of one another, their strengths? I mean, how does that work?
Sometimes. I mean, they've got to be compatible. Yeah. You can't have two people that's going to be sitting there griping about each other on the court and going into fisticuffs and whatever. So they've got to be compatible. And the strengths and weaknesses. You're playing on different sides of the courts most of the time. And you may have somebody that plays real strong on an ad side and real strong on the do side, and it's how they volley and everything else. But chemistry has a lot to do with doubles, and the doubles game is different than the singles game. Okay. So it's a little quicker. You play more at the net. You hit more overheads probably. You don't have to be as quick laterally to get to balls and make great shots, but the quicker you are, the better you are when you play doubles. That's for sure.
Well, headed to Moore on Thursday, and then Saturday, not wasting any time getting into this season. Saturday, traveling to Jenks, and Jenks big school. Tell us, is that a difference maker? I mean, it's a bigger school. They have more students to choose from for athletes. Does that make a difference?
Well, I think in your metro areas, you're going to have more kids that play tennis year round at the clubs, and
Right.
they got pros, and there's a lot of money people that
Right.
are going to spend a lot of money on lessons, and
Sure.
some of these kids they go year round to these places. And
Right.
so you get into the Tulsa area or the Oklahoma City area, you're going to get a lot of that.
You're going to run into
and,
that. Sure.
So there's just a lot of good players. But, the Jenks tournament's a little bit different in the fact that you have, on any tournament, it could be any class. But you're going to get the Heritage Halls and the Cassia Halls along with the Jinkses and the
Right.
Edmund Norris and the Bishop Kellys. And, you can go right down the list. And, you place 12th over Jenks, you may have had a good day.
Yeah, right.
Where, like we were talking about my number one doubles. Well, if they don't get in the finals down at Westmoore, to me that would be a disappointment, because I think with the teams there that we should be able to do that. But,
Sure.
If they lose the first match and go to the backside and win consolation at Jenks and win 3 matches out of the 4, I'd be happy.
That's not a bad showing.
So it just matters who's playing and where you're playing and how the matchups are,
Right.
because, you may be one of the top 8 in 6A, but we got some 5A teams that can just play.
Right.
So
the individual players, some of the players you mentioned, you have three varsity
well,
letters
I
coming back
got
this year.
actually, Jacek Vernon will be back. He lettered along with Bradley and Max, and he'll play 2 doubles. At least Thursday, he'll play with. Hinch. Hinch will be playing 2 doubles with Vernon, and then singles. We had a family move in from Kansas, the Fort Camp families. And I got twins that are sophomores, and there's an 8th grade, and they're pretty good players. And one of the twins will play 1 singles for us.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good. I think that he's not yet as good as Bradley and Max, which are probably the best 2 kids we have, but I'm playing them in doubles. He should fare pretty well, I think, Thursday. Now, he might get a wide awakening on Saturday, because, those will be the top kids in the state.
Right.
And then he will be playing 2 singles for us. So, and out of that, I think that if Morgan would have been here last year, he might have lettered as a freshman.
Yeah.
Zen will be fresh, new for us, and Hinch will be fresh. That were the kids that will letter this year that didn't letter last year. So.
You've got some young players coming up, and that is an important part of the program. Here coming up, we'll talk about the junior high qualifier. And Coach, as you look at some of these younger players that are coming up and playing, how do you keep an eye on kind of keep track of what they're doing, and because eventually they're going to be on your team?
Well, actually, for me, I'm actually the head high school and head junior high coach, so I see these kids every day.
Okay, so you're working with them.
I work with Coach Shelton, and he's my assistant coach for all of it.
Okay.
So we do the boys, and that's just how we have it set up, and that way, I go on most of the trips.
Okay.
And, Coach Shelton will go on a few of them, and it doesn't really matter who's there for junior high, who's there for JV, and who's there for varsity, because they see both of us
Right.
consistently every day. But we have a couple of young kids that are pretty good. They're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch them grow.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, when it gets into season, we spend probably a little bit more on the high school end of it than we do the junior high.
Sure.
We try as much as we can to get into it, but when it gets to that second semester, we got to prepare those varsity kids for action, and all the kids get to hit. We separate the courts out to where there may be a bunch in a drill, but they're all going to hit in a day.
Right.
So,
right.
We try to make sure that we get them in right drills, and like I said, they'll hit a lot of balls by the time it starts.
Well, next week is a big week for Pohai tennis. 3 big tournaments on the schedule, not just for the varsity tennis players, but also for the junior high qualifier tournament. First tournament's going to be on Tuesday. How many teams are you expecting?
We actually play 3 varsity tournaments here, and they're all 8-team, and we put boys and girls both in there because of our court space. We can only invite, having boys and girls on the same day, we have to limit it to 8. A lot of tournaments that you go to, some of them will be 16, but they'll be boys and then girls the next day. And we kind of like to invite to where we have both boys and girls on the same day. And coaches seem to like that because the girls actually have an opportunity to play in the same place with the boys, So it's kind of neat. And our JV set up the same way, and actually our junior high is too. Now, on the junior high qualifier, all of those are qualifying for a state team tournament. So those are 16-team tournaments, and we'll have girls on one day and boys on the other, and that's, I believe, the girls are on March the 12th and the boys are on the 13th. So we'll have a lot of good junior high players here, on those 2 days. Now, the week prior to that, which is next week, we'll have 2 varsity tournaments, one on Tuesday and one on Saturday. I believe that it's the 6th and the 10th. And then we have a JV tournament on the Thursday in between that. And so we got a lot of home tournaments. In 8 days, we'll have played 5 tournaments here.
My goodness.
So there's going to be a lot of tennis played in Ponca City from Tuesday to Tuesday from the 6th through the 13th. So if you want to watch some tennis, come on out.
Yeah, absolutely. There are plenty of tennis and not wasting any time and getting right into the season, the Pohai tennis season. And like I said, it goes quickly. March, April, May.
Yep, we get it rolling and it's fun though. I mean, it's enjoyable. Most of the spring sports and even when you get in the early ones like volleyball, and all of them are condensed into those fine areas, They're not quite the length of like football or basketball or wrestling, so it's in a hurry.
When your players are out there on the court, they look over and they see folks coming out. They're filling up the stands. Well, what does that do for them? I mean, they're working hard all the time. They're working not only on the court, but in the classroom. They're putting a lot of effort in. It's got to make them feel good when they look there. And they not just see family and friends, but they see folks coming out to back the Cats.
Yeah, it's nice in the fact that, you have people supporting you. Anytime somebody's supporting, and you see that happening, it's like, hey, I'm doing this, and these people are actually enjoying this. Yeah. Tennis is a little different than some sports in the fact that, I don't ever have to worry about parents helping me coach from the stands because you can't do that.
Right.
So, that makes it a little easier on us, because, it's a little different about you can't just yell across the deal while people are playing and things like that. So, actually, it's really fun because we actually have, on our home dates, we'll have teachers bring kids over too, which is really nice, and they get to see their classmates and their friends come over. And of course, we have to kind of teach them a little bit about tennis etiquette, beforehand. But it's nice for those kids when we get people out. It really is. So
yeah, very good. Well, we want you to get out there and back the Cats and the Pohai tennis team. Boys coach. Coach Larimer, thank you so much for being on.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. It's Coach's Corner, and that's going to do it for this edition of Coach's Corner. And I'm Sean Anderson, your host. Look forward to the next edition. Thanks for watching. Until next time.